While I'm in here working on the Volvo today, I thought I'd share a couple things that I found that helped me a lot when I was working on the PCV oil trap box replacement on my 2002 P2 Volvo V70. Just a couple things that really took a lot of time for me to figure out how to do. I want to give a shout out to WatchJRGo. I didn't even know who he was. I did a search on Google and his video popped up and I was able to watch that and it gave me the confidence to do that project myself. He did it on an S60, same internals here as the Volvo V70. Obviously it's a P2, but that video, check it out. I'll put the address down below to check that video out because that's got all the real info as a mechanic. But just 3 quick tips that I found very helpful in doing the PCV oil trap box replacement on the Volvo V70 P2. Tip number 1 on this PCV oil trap box replacement. Obviously, I'm not in there taking everything off today, but in the oil trap process to get to all this, because these parts are coming out, comes around the back. This is going to be off. All of this is going to be out of here. You're going to be taking off the intake here. This is out of the way, obviously. I'm not doing that today, but just showing you. And the throttle body's down underneath here. So the first thing in the Haynes manual, I didn't even have a Vita back then, but even in the Haynes manual, and I skipped it. Don't know why I did that. Disconnect the damn battery. I got so lucky with this tube off, the intake tube coming back from the intercooler. I was working underneath here and getting bolts off. And I don't remember if I was actually working on these 10s that are the intake manifold bolts or whether I was working underneath trying to get the, I believe I was working underneath trying to get the throttle body disconnected. And I was sitting in there and I got so lucky because I did not disconnect the battery. I was working with this setup and it rotated just right. If I remember correctly, it rotated this way, made connection to the starter solenoid electrical connectors, and sent a loud electrical pop up to the manifold, the bottom of the manifold. And I got so lucky on 2 instances. One, I had an insulated grip on the damn ratchet, so I didn't get shocked personally. I'm not sure what that would have done, but I'm pretty sure that would have hurt like hell. And 2, I got really lucky that it didn't make an electrical connection to the actual throttle body. It hit here, and it didn't destroy electrically my throttle body. So that's step number 1. Disconnect your battery when you work on that. I'm not going to get down in there to show you, but I believe they are fusible links that are exposed copper, and they will shock the hell out of you and send an electrical pulse if you make any connection with those. They are sitting down there underneath this intake tube. You can start to see the solenoid down there, and there are connectors. Trust me, they are in there. If you're going to go down in that area, disconnect the battery. All right, tip number 2. When you're working on this and putting it all back together, this Banjo bolt down here was the worst part of the entire reassembly on the new oil trap components for me. I tried so many times to get this thing. I would connect from starting on this side of the engine, the transmission side, getting everything going, had the intake manifold was attached, and then I get to this and I could not get it to flex enough and get the angle right to even get that thing to thread without losing washers. I tried this over and over and over, even had my wife helping me hold it. Finally, what worked is I started here, disconnected everything, had my wife hold the manifold with it hanging here loose, not attached, and I started with the 2 copper washers and the Banjo bolt first, so all of this was movable, and got that threaded. Didn't tighten it, but just got it threaded and going so it would stay, and then came around and started connecting everything and got the manifold on, came across, got everything connected. But starting here helped me get this thing going first. So that's my tip number 2 on the oil trap PCV project. This is all open right now, obviously, because with the thermostat housing being replaced today, I took the power steering pump off, so I have access this way. You could do that and get a little bit better access too. It's a little bit messy though. All right, oil trap PCV Volvo tip number 3. This bolt on the manifold is the hardest one to get to, especially when you have your power steering pump sitting here. I have mine off. We're going to replace the thermostat housing today, the whole assembly. but I have mine off so I can see this, so I thought I'd take this video real quick and just show you these. That bolt on the bottom, right where my finger's at, is really hard to get to. I struggled and struggled and struggled to get that off, and then it took me forever. And I actually read, I can't remember if it was a video I found online or whether it was just a blog I found on one of the old blogs, but it said to take 2 knuckles, put them together with an extension on your ratchet. So you end up with one of these. And then I stuck it on the end of, I don't know what that is. That's a 5 or 6 inch extension, 6 inch probably. Stuck it on the end of there. But I've just got to tell you, this happens every time you stick it in, and that ain't no tool for any job. It ain't going to get in there. Every time you get close and you start moving it, it just knuckled itself away from the weight and would fall away. It was useless. Couldn't do it. Finally, again, I had all of the power steering pump here. The thermostat housing was in place, so it wasn't this accessible. But what I was able to do was literally come in. This is, all of the piping is off, but I was literally able to come into, with a 10 inch just straight extension, you can come in straight underneath the power steering pump. It's a little bit blind, but if you work it in there, it comes in perfectly, and you have enough space right here to work. And you obviously the coolant hose will be there coming from the thermostat housing, but there was just enough space in here where I could get a hold of it. I think I did it this way because this this pipe, the turbo charge pipe, intercooler charge pipe, was off, so I was able to ratchet right here, loosen it, tighten it. It was so simple. Once I figured out a 10-inch extension, got me straight in there on the 10mm bolt head. So that's how you do it. That's tip number 3. Have fun. Be sure, I'm going to put a link down below. Watch the WatchJRGo YouTube video on his S60 how to do this, and if I can do it, you can do it.